All right, so we are going to continue with our PIET Mondrian compositions. I'm going to quickly review what we did last class, and then we are going to move forward. So last class, we probably ended with something that looked similar to this. However, yours is in pencil, mine's in Sharpie, just so that you can see on the screen a little bit better. So last class we took our piece of paper, wrote our name and class code. In this case it was 3A, but if you're joining another class it'd be something different. We learned that this tool is called a right angle triangle. To draw a line side to side, you line this up with the side of your paper, and we drew 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then to draw a line up and down, you lined it up with the top or bottom. Another trick was, if you rotate this 90 degrees, now your side to side lines, your horizontal lines that run side to side, are now vertical lines, and you can use the side again if you like. Then we used our primary colored markers to color our sections in a descending order in 3, 2, 1, meaning either, in this case, 3 yellow, 2 red, 1 blue, but it could be 3 blue, 2 yellow, 1 red. However you decide to do that, but you would have had a total of 6 pieces colored. All right. Today, we are going to need scratch paper because we're going to be making a little bit of a mess. We are going to be using these pre-cut black strips. And we are going to be very carefully going over our lines. So we're going to use our wet glue. A reminder about wet glue. When there is no space between the twist-on cap and the twist-on nozzle, it is closed. You should have a little bit of a white part or piece coming out of the very top. That is closed. When you twist it open, there will be space between the cap and the nozzle. Now, there still might be what looks like a white part, but a lot of times this is leftover glue that you can pick off and dispose of. And you should be able to hear air flow through your glue bottle. Listen. All right, so I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to do all the one ways first and then all the other ways. And why I said one ways versus other ways, you can start with all your verticals and then do your horizontals, or you can start with all your horizontals and do your verticals. So I'm literally going to take my glue and do an even line on all 4, remember we did 4, of my lines that are going side to side. Then I'm going to take my strips of paper here and go over those. Now, if I have a really small area, like this is a small area, I want to make sure that my strips of paper are not covering that whole area. Like if I put my strip of paper like that, you're not going to see much of it. So I want to make sure that I'm putting it kind of closer to the outer edge of my line. Okay. I'm going to cheat and turn mine. Uh-oh, Mrs. Turtle went way off the line there, which is okay, and I'll show you what to do. So I went way off the line. You're gonna notice that some of your strips are a little thinner. Some strips are a little thicker. I went way off my line. I'm gonna use a thicker strip there and just put it on the outside of my line, press it down, no big deal. I'm running my fingers over it. Now, you do want to be careful when you are running your fingers over this that you are not getting all of the marker on your fingers, because this is washable marker. It might lift up and get on your hands. Now, you have this glued down, great. However, we were using the scratch paper to protect it from the table. We can't put it on the drying rack with the scratch paper, or else this will get glued to the scratch paper. Okay, so you are going to, bless you, have to lift this off before you put it on the drying rack. A few things that you are gonna be like, oh, well, if you look at your finished project, you have some things crisscrossing where they're not even lines. Like this stopped here. I added an extra piece here. You can do things like that with extra strips. So I'm going to cut a little bit and add some cool additional vertical or horizontal strips in here. Maybe right here. The trick to this is that it has to start and stop on a black strip. It can't start and stop like in the middle. That would look funky unless you had another strip that ran across. Okay, so I'm going to put this guy right here. Scoot it so it starts and stops on the strip. I said that would look funky if one floated in the middle, right?
Yep.
But it wouldn't look funky if one went up like so. So I kind of have to size these out. I'm just gonna let that go all the way to that strip. It'll look fine. Okay, so I'm going to, especially if I have time to do it, encourage you to add some of these extra vertical and horizontal strips in here. It's just going to make it look all the more interesting. Do not worry about the fact that your strips are hanging off the edge of your paper. Just make sure that it's not getting stuck to your scratch paper now and then. And when we put it on the drying rack, we have to get rid of the scratch paper. Next class will come through and cut these off, and then we will put it on a background to give it a finishing edge. Questions on this? No. All right.